Gaffney, people called it the War of Northern Aggression. I personally take no pride in the Confederacy.
Confederacy. Confederacy.
I personally take no pride in the Confederacy. I personally take no pride in the Confederacy. Avoid wars you can't win and never raise your flag for an asinine cause like slavery.
Asinine. Asinine.
And never raise your flag for an asinine cause like slavery.
Well, any luck with the Joint Chiefs?
The chairman's office still says he's unavailable, but...
Unavailable. Unavailable.
The chairman's office still says he's unavailable, but...
Xander Fang. Deep family connections to the party. Grandfather fought side by side with Mao. Big in the telecom industry.
Telecom. Telecom.
Big in the telecom industry.
When a man like Raymond Tusk gets involved in state diplomacy, you can be sure he's not after the Nobel Peace Prize. He's an opportunist. But so am I.
Opportunist. Opportunist.
He's an opportunist. But so am I. The refinery.
With Mr. Tusk.
With the highest bidder.
Bidder. Bidder.
With the highest bidder. I understand that you and Raymond are business associates, but you're going to have to open it up to bidding.
Mr. Tusk will outbid any competitors.
Outbid. Outbid.
Mr. Tusk will outbid any competitors.
This is the FBI. It's not a few street cops.
You think you're badass because you're on some vigilante anarchy kick?
Vigilante. Vigilante.
Because you're on some vigilante anarchy kick?
You've never faced 100 years in prison, you self-righteous prick.
Prick. Prick.
You self-righteous prick.
Why? They wanted to expose government surveillance, the PRISM program, embezzlement, abuse, fucking torture, lies.
Embezzlement. Embezzlement.
The PRISM program, embezzlement, abuse, fucking torture, lies.
I didn't realize you were announcing so soon.
We've had some great luck with the endowment.
Endowment. Endowment.
We've had some great luck with the endowment.
I won't discuss that.
Nothing unreported?
Unreported. Unreported.
Nothing unreported?
There was a time when...
What about any prominent figures who the anti-choice crowd could vilify?
Vilify. Vilify.
Who the anti-choice crowd could vilify? The press hounding you day and night. And Planned Parenthood Fund, gone.
Parenthood. Parenthood.
And Planned Parenthood Fund, gone. And Planned Parenthood Fund, gone.
How do I know you work for her? That you're not just some right-wing fanatic who wants to destroy...
Fanatic. Fanatic.
That you're not just some right-wing fanatic who wants to destroy...
Well, just imagine what it looked like back then. At the edge of the ridge was a dense thicket, which allowed...
Thicket. Thicket.
At the edge of the ridge was a dense thicket, which allowed the northern troops to come in and form on the mule shoe. Now, the southern regiments were entrenched in this area.
Entrench. Entrench.
The southern regiments were entrenched in this area, which allowed the northern troops to come in and form on the mule shoe. Now, the southern regiments were entrenched in this area at the apex of the line.
Apex. Apex.
This area at the apex of the line. This area at the apex of the line. As you can see, the topography really forced the two sides down towards each other.
Topography. Topography.
Topography really forced the two sides down towards each other. I'd like to introduce you to Corporal Augustus Elijah Underwood of the 12th Regiment of McGowan's Brigade.
Regiment. Regiment.
Of the 12th Regiment of McGowan's Brigade.
Tell me more.
It's the middle of the night.
We were out of musket balls, just bayonets only.
Musket, musket,
We were out of musket balls, just bayonets only. Then he grabs a rock and brings it down right here. That was that. I was buried in a mass grave. No headstone.
headstone, headstone,
I was buried in a mass grave. No headstone.
Now, up ahead, we have examples of Confederate ramparts that we've reconstructed. You can see
Confederate, Confederate,
Confederate ramparts that we've reconstructed. And you can see
$5,000 you just spilled.
I'll send you a check.
I like you, Mr. Stumper, even if you're just an errand boy.
errand, errand,
Like you, Mr. Stumper, even if you're just an errand boy. Please remind the Vice President that we're both here at the behest of our mutual friend, Mr. Tusk.
behest, behest,
Behest of our mutual friend, Mr. Tusk.
He wants us to rescind the lawsuit.
So he's sticking to his guns.
If we don't reintroduce it, there's no bridge project.
reintroduce, reintroduce,
If we don't reintroduce it, there's no bridge project.
And in it, it says, in some cases, it may be advisable to submit than to resist.
advisable, advisable,
May be advisable to submit than to resist.
It's not good.
You die.
There you go.
We're talking about a man who's only one kangaroo court away from...
kangaroo, kangaroo,
We're talking about a man who's only one kangaroo court away from...
I'm simply here to facilitate, not negotiate.
And yet you continue to have private conversations with Beijing's supposed emissary.
Listen.
emissary, emissary,
Issues with Beijing's supposed emissary.
Listen. Between a good choice and the right choice.
And tell me, how would we handle the repercussions of...
repercussion, repercussion,
And tell me, how would we handle the repercussions of firing our comm director 3 months after we hire him?
You don't fire him. You tell him that you're bringing me on board to help with the workload.
workload, workload,
You tell him that you're bringing me on board to help with the workload.
Stick a knife through its heart and put an apple in its mouth, I won't shed a tear.
Your president will ascribe the failure to you.
ascribe, ascribe,
Your president will ascribe the failure to you.
That we are dealing with a regime that is not being forthright and will seize upon the faintest whiff of trepidation. This is
trepidation, trepidation,
and will seize upon the faintest whiff of trepidation. This is. We can walk away from the summit.
The economic fallout would be catastrophic. The market would...
Or we can just kowtow and submit to the new reigning superpower.
kowtow, kowtow,
Or we can just kowtow and submit to the new reigning superpower. Or we can just kowtow and submit to the new reigning superpower.
Don't be hyperbolic, Frank.
What we
hyperbolic, hyperbolic,
Don't be hyperbolic, Frank.
what we
Second was enlisting you, Frank. Instead of clarity, we got miscommunication. That's poor diplomacy.
miscommunication, miscommunication,
We got miscommunication. That's poor diplomacy.